What's up, everybody? It's Brian here on the Brewhaus, and I'm really excited for a new show today because I have a guest with me that I've previously had interviews with specifically firearms instructor and folks like that, but today is something a little bit different for you, and hopefully you'll find this not only entertaining but actually informative, and you'll be able to get something out of it that you can use to improve your own shooting. So before we get going on the episode, though, I do have to give a shout out to the sponsor of this episode, and that is Alien Gear Holsters. If you are looking for any holster out there, if you don't have a favorite holster yet, this is about to be it, because they're unbelievably comfortable. They got amazing retention. They're easy to adjust, and they got y'all. I got to show you, because this is the cloak mod right here, and I love this thing. I've been carrying Alien Gear for quite a while now, but I wanted to tell you about this because they have this whole new thing. It's called the Rapid Force Level 3 Duty Holster, and it is actually designed for law enforcement, military, other security pros. It's got active retention, not just passive retention. So, it's a lot safer to carry if you are around other people who you may or may not know their intentions. But then it also, if you're in law enforcement, it does have an optional Axon Signal sidearm mount. So if you're using one of those for video, then you can actually have that included in the holster, and it really works well. It's also got an extra large optics hood and a large light chamber for a tack light. So, if you carry with that, then check out the Rapid Force Level 3 Duty Holster from Alien Gear. They currently have it on left or right-hand draw for the Sig Sauer P320 line, and then they also have it for the, I think it's Glocks, 17, 19, 22, 23, 45, and 47. So they're getting those pre-ordered right now for the Glocks, but Sig Sauer is already available. So check out the link in the show notes of this episode if you want to learn more about it and all the other awesome Alien Gear holsters. I've actually been carrying with them for almost 10 years now. And again, there's a reason why I don't stray. I don't go anywhere else because they are the best for me. So that said, I'm going to jump into the episode here, because I've got a guy with me who I think you're going to find not only entertaining, but also has something really cool to talk about. And I'm looking forward to hearing his story. I have not heard his story yet, but we connected a while back via email. We've had some really good connection here. And well, I'm just going to go ahead and jump in and say welcome to the show, Jake Hollenbeck from Mantis X. How you doing?
What's up, Brian? How we doing, Brewhaus team? Just
Dude.
super stoked to be able to be here with you guys. Ready to jump in and talk some Mantis gear and things in the industry and how everything's going. So really stoked to be able to be here with you.
Dude, yeah, it's I'm glad to have you, because I've been looking forward to this interview for a while. I think there was a week there that you weren't available, and then a week that I wasn't available, and so we're finally making it happen here. I'm really excited for it.
Had a gas that week, which was a huge show, right? Really busy for us, and that was right after shots, so it was just like this quick back to back after that, and then yeah, we each had a week off, and finally were able to make it happen. So I was pretty happy to be able to link up with you, and I've heard great things about the show, so I'm really excited to be here.
Thanks, man. We're glad to have you. So, before we get going on the episode, I got to ask, have you ever used Alien Gear holsters?
Yes. Yeah, I didn't want to jump in on that intro, but I actually run a cloak tuck for my Glock 17, and absolutely love that thing. It's super comfy, sticks really well, and they've got great ways to get it molded. So whatever light you run, suppressor height sights, all that stuff fits and runs in there really good. I use it all the time.
Believe it or not, I actually there's been a couple times that I was wearing I've got the Cloak Tuck 3.5 and in waistband, super comfy. And believe it or not, there was actually a time where some friends of mine, we were hanging out, and they said, "Hey," it was a group of guys and girls down here in Arkansas, and they said, "Hey, what if we go line dancing?" I forgot I was wearing the thing. It's that comfy, and I'm not even like exaggerating. I literally forgot I was wearing this thing. So I'm like, okay, cool, that's awesome. So we go out and we find there's this little country bar just out on the road. It's not even a bar. It's literally some folks' backyard. They've built this shed, and it's amazing. It's like a massive shed that they've dressed out as their own little shop, and it has a dance floor and all this stuff in it. Anyways, I get line dancing this thing, and I'm like halfway through, I'm like, I'm
Oh God,
carrying
I have a
right
gun
now.
on me.
Okay. But there was no slip. There was nothing. There was no slip. There was no binding. There was no worry about it. Dude, it was nuts. There's a reason, like I say, why I've been carrying for 10 years and with alien gear, and they're amazing. But we're
Oh,
not
my
here for
big
them.
thing is, just like sitting in the car, driving. When I forget that I've got a gun on me in the car, that's how you
Yeah,
know it's comfortable. You know,
exactly.
sitting at a 90, driving all the way across the state, I'm like, man, I totally forgot I had a gun on me. Like this thing is so comfy. It breathes well. I'm not like constantly sweating it out and stuff. It's yeah, they're really really worth it.
Oh yeah. Now, quick preference question here: do you carry appendix, side, or back, or what's your carry choice?
Yeah. I'm an appendix guy.
Okay.
I'm like everything in the industry that's mainstream. I'm such like a trend guy. You know what I mean? I can't not. If it's trendy, I'd probably do it. And it's trendy for a reason too. Like,
Oh yeah.
it works. It's comfy. It's quick. It's accessible.
Yeah.
So I think if you're doing it any other way, you're behind the curve. But that's just me.
I'm behind the curve. It's right here on my side. So, but that said, I did see a great one the other day. There was an interview online, and the guy says technically, if you think about it, if you're appendix carrying, every firearm is also a decocker. That said,
No,
we're gonna roll into this.
no,
So,
I know
no,
exactly what you're talking about. Was
yep, this Jim.
Bill
This
Wilson, right?
Bill. That's right. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, Wilson called
Yeah.
that. I saw
Yeah.
that interview and I was like, damn,
It's
boy, come
amazing.
on, man.
That was, and I love his little slight
Yeah.
pause and look at the camera. That was the best. I'm like, well done, well done. So tell us a little bit about yourself, man. I mean, obviously you're with Mantis X now, but tell us a little bit about who are you? Tell us a little bit about your upbringing. Were you always raised around firearms? Are you military? Like, what? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so I grew up well, I currently reside out in Kansas right now. I've always been kind of a Great Plains guy, but I grew up in the Black Hills of South Carolina. That's my upbringing, and my whole life up there, it was pronghorn hunting, mule deer, a little bit of whitetail. So I've been doing guns my whole life. And then after graduating high school, I did enlist in the Army. I was in the Army for 4 years.
Okay.
Inventive stuff. Went around the country a little bit. Obviously, a lot of exposure to firearms. And that's where like a lot of my passion kind of started for the professional side of firearms.
Mhm.
I did software while I was in the Army. So as soon as I got out, I was kind of bouncing between software companies for a couple of years. Did that for a while, and then Mantis came along with an opportunity for me to combine my passion for firearms and software together, and we just kind of click like a click like a key from there. It was
Yeah.
one of those deals where it's like I have all this experience. I was in the military, and I love guns, so let's just make this happen, and
Yeah.
that worked. So yeah, no. Always been big on them. Always been a lot of rifle and shotgun for me kind of growing up. And then obviously once I became a man and left the house, I was like, okay, might be time for some pistol action, and got into that. And now it's full blown. Now it's pedal to the metal all the time, around the clock. Whenever I get my hands on, I'm gonna shoot and
Yep.
put a Mantis on it and talk about it. So that's kind of where it started, and that's sort of how we got to Mantis. And then so for the team, I do Kansas territory sales. Always out doing shows. Like I said, I was at the Great American Outdoor Show in PA a couple weeks ago. SHOT Show before that. We've got a lot of big ones coming up for like the National Guard and law enforcement stuff. So
That's cool.
stay really busy. Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah. No, that was funny because I think, yeah, because you had just gotten back from SHOT whenever we were connecting, and it was just like, okay, let's set something up here. I mean, obviously it's kind of funny to think about how dare I say liberal the city of Vegas is, right? But then you have this massive gun show that rolls in, and surprisingly there's no activity, right? That's isn't that crazy?
It is. It's super strange. We always kind of have like the new age of big city living. You know what I mean? And yeah, no, it's crazy how all these other events kind of happen, all these big things, and then shit
Yeah.
rolls around. The biggest end is thousands of firearms around, and then magically nothing happens. It's
It's so
kind of
strange.
crazy how that works out.
Yeah. My AR has been sitting here next to me, and I just keep an eye on it to make sure it doesn't go off and like shoot somebody. Because I know that they're notorious for just going out and killing people. So
Going legs and becoming murderers. It's a real thing, I guess.
yeah. So that said, man, I mean that so you said you're out in Kansas right now.
Yep.
What like I grew up in Kansas myself actually, so I grew up out in southeast Kansas, so I know the area well, and then of course had some friends out in Hayes, Kansas, out in the western side, and had some work out in Colorado for a couple summers. So, and I tell you, it's I'm familiar with all of Kansas, and I understand that the vast majority of it is flat.
Yeah. 90% of it's the exact same thing.
Yep.
I-70 will show you the same picture from the east end to the west end.
That's
It's
it.
Yeah, it is. I'm out in the
Oh,
Flint Hills, pretty close to Manhattan. So I mean,
yeah.
we have some rolling prairies, some creeks. I live in like a wooded area, so it's not. I step out the door and I'm not like, "Ooh, court," but that is a
Yeah.
block away. So
Oh, well, let's roll into talking a little bit about Mantis here because, like, I gotta say, I actually ran into Mantis. I was referred to Mantis by a friend of mine, who actually I found out and that's Kara Connery. She was the one on the episode before you
yeah,
here, and
yeah,
yeah, so I guess she joined you guys for SHOT Show and GAOS, I believe. So
yeah,
that's pretty awesome that you guys know each other. But she is the one who first introduced me to Mantis, because I was out at the range and I was relatively inconsistent with my shot. Right, it was like I could do decent, but then there would be these random shots that are just like, what did I do there? And I wasn't able to fully understand where I was going wrong. What was was I overcompensating by pushing and anticipating the shot? Was I squeezing to the left? I mean, you could obviously see where it was on the paper, but it was like, okay, but where's the breakdown? And so she started me on. She said, you need the X10. And so I don't know if, yeah, there you go. So there's the X10 right there. And I started training with it, and I got to be honest, man. After I looked at the website, you guys make a pretty bold statement on there. It says that 94% of all shooters agree that they get better with Mantis X in just 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Yep, yep. So
Insane.
it's bold. It's bold.
Yeah.
It's a big claim. But and Tara would, she would say the same thing here, but we eat our own dog food at work. You know what I mean? It's kind of one of those deals where we've seen them online and stuff before I decided to like jump in. And I'll tell you what, I'd always like, you know what, I'm shooting all up and down in my background. I've been doing pistols for 5 years. I get
Yeah.
what's going on here. I put this thing on, and literally, it's a big fat slice of humble pie. It's one of those deals where I was like, man, holy cow, the amount of detail that it gives you. I mean, the learning curve is vertical. It's unreal how much it does really improve you right away.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a big claim, but 94 out of 100 people would tell you it's very true. So
Yeah.
that would kind of bring us around. So where we started, right?
Yeah. Tell us about the kind of the roots of Mantis and what was the first thing they came out with, or how'd they say, hey, I think we can make shooting better,
Yeah, yeah. So the company was started by three brothers. One of them, or I think at the time, two of them were in the Chicago area. And then now two of them, of the three, are out in Utah. So there's a little bit of bouncing back and forth. But basically, they get together all the time and just look for good ideas to improve, their lives, their surroundings, society, anything. So they do a lot of things that weren't just firearms, but all of them being avid shooters and caring about firearm safety. Um, they were looking for a way to fill the void of looking for access, to become better, more proficient, better trained shooters without having to pay thousands of dollars every year to travel the country, to go to classes. So they were kind of thinking of how do we tackle this issue? Well, they all have engineering degrees from, I think it's BYU. Don't shoot me if I'm wrong, but I think it's BYU.
I'm gonna hold you to
No,
it. That's it. It's on the internet now, so it's real.
Mechanical engineers, right? That's what they've done, and it started with the idea of like, okay, how do we analyze what people are doing while they shoot, right?
Mm.
We don't have a camera set up and recording things all the time and sending that off for someone to look at, or have remote coaches, things like that. So what do we do here? That's where motion came into play and vibration. So they decided, all right, I think the best way for us to tackle this is going to be with an accelerometer or gyroscope. And as a matter of fact, kind of a funny story. When the very first time they tried to, prove that this could be done, they basically jailbroke a really old Android phone and just like rubber banded it onto a Glock, the gyroscope and accelerometer to like make this work.
Yeah.
And then once they realized, like, oh, we can read this raw data, we can tune the vibration and movement frequencies depending on how you're shooting, and see what's going on. And then basically from there, that's where it was born. They started with the original Mantis X. That was the first product, which is, I don't know if you can see it here, but it's this guy.
Okay.
And kind of compared to your X10, you can tell it's like a massive Lego brick, right? It's huge, requires hardware and stuff. This was the original, though. The OG is what we call it at work. And so that's where it started.
It's smaller than an Android phone, though, so that's good.
Yeah, it's way easier to put on a gun than a phone is. There's no doubt about that. So they were like, okay, we can get it attached to the firearm. Let's link it up via Bluetooth to an app that we can write and create. And that's the roots. I mean, that is where the seed sprouted. That's where it all took off from. And the first couple of years were collecting all the raw data of building the algorithms. It's like the magic of the whole operation is the algorithms of each fire mode, right? If you're shooting live fire or dry fire or CO2 or CERT, whatever you're going to mount it to and you want feedback from. And then once they got that all tuned in, they applied all of that data to like the age-old pie chart of like, if your muzzle is going hard right while you're pulling the trigger and you're right-handed, you probably have too much trigger finger and you're forcing that muzzle right.
Yep.
So as soon as they like saw this, understood what the data meant and how to like build the algorithms and sensitivity out from there, that's when things really started picking up. And kind of ironically and luckily for the company, that was right before COVID when like they just released the new version of the sensors, the X2 to the X10, and we stopped producing the OGs. That was going right into COVID, which obviously ranges were shut down, gun stores were shut down. It was hard to get out and do things, and people were looking for a way to do dry fire at home.
Yeah.
But as soon as like we got into people's homes and everyone understood like, oh, this thing's nuts, I can do this dry, and then when I get the opportunity to go shoot, I can take it with me. That's when we really just picked up a ton of steam, and now we're still just crazy busy trying to keep up with everything and release some new stuff. We've got some new cool things on the way, so that's kind of, that's the roots. That's kind of where it came from and how we got started.
Yeah, dude, I love it because you're right. I think it's super easy. A lot of people will think to go, oh, well, I can obviously go to like an instructor or trainer or something like that. But then whenever it comes to time to actually execute on that, right? And whenever you go, oh, wait, that means I have to drive over here. That means I have to do this. And, I've seen other systems where I'm not going to say names or anything, but like where they, you set up a camera, like you're saying, a slow-mo camera or something like that. Well, not everybody has access to a slow-mo camera. Not everybody has access to an area that they could do it in. Whatever. There's a lot of complications, I think. And so something like this, to have it at home, like I'm able to set up and just do it really anywhere. Right. Like I've done this. I've got mine actually set up. So I've got this and I've got the Laser Academy. I've got it set up out in my garage. So then that way I can just go out there and practice, train, do whatever. And I'm not bugging anybody. There's no risk with it, if I'm practicing, I know that you guys have the holster draw with the X10, so like holster draw analysis, that's one of my favorite parts. And actually that's why Kara got me onto this, because she goes, look, I want to get you to a 1 second draw, but you have to be accurate. And you know, draw the first shot, you have to be accurate. So get the Laser Academy, get the X10, pair them together, and then you can sit there and train, and you know where you're hitting, and you can see what your actual motion looks like. And I think that's also insane, the amount of microscopic motions this thing picks up.
It's an eye opener, right? Like you
Yeah.
could go on the website and see all the videos of like, oh wow, I see a bunch of squiggly lines and it's color coded and I see data, right? And
Yeah.
we're obsessed with data these days, but yeah, no, the reality is it was an eye opener when you got home, put it on
Yeah.
your firearm and went and did it, and you're like, oh,
Now
now
I
I
get
see
it.
this is nuts, right? Yeah, and to your point, it's a force multiplier for instructors, right? Like we were never designed to replace instruction.
Yeah.
It was, you know, get you up to speed, get the fundamentals sharp, get a really good baseline. And that's, you know, that's what this is, right? Like Lance
Yeah.
Armstrong, when he was, right, he might be a bad example, but you know, training for bikes and stuff, like it was one of those deals where you had to have the fundamentals of how to sit on the seat, how to push the pedals right, what you're doing up and downhill, blah 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 blah, right? It's like
Yeah.
this is a perishable skill, so we just want to get a good baseline fundamental set and then expand on it. You know, are you a competition shooter? Is this for defense? Like, what are you doing here? It doesn't matter because this applies to all of them. So
Yeah.
yeah, we've got all sorts of instructors out there that are like, man, this is an awesome way to get people up to speed.
Well, and not only that, but like I think one thing that impressed me too, was, I mean, so whenever you get to your kit, right? I don't know if y'all can see it. Yeah, so here's the kit. And so like whenever I got my X10, so it comes with little shims and everything. Um, I love the fact that you can use it on all the different kinds of firearms, right? So like, you know, obviously I think it's like the X2 you can't do certain things with, but the X10 I've got it where, you know, I can actually hook this up to my AR, anything with a pick rail, right? I can put that on there. But then it also includes like the shotgun adapter and everything. So, and then I think you guys even have an archery app, right?
Yeah, yeah. The X10 will do literally anything. It goes
Yeah.
pistol, rifle, shotgun, archery.
Hand
We've got our
grenades.
own app for shotgun and what?
Hand
Hand
grenades can do
grenades?
that. Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna get expensive fast, but it would
One
probably
time.
do it. Yeah,
You
one
do it
time.
once.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Everything in the X10, you know, it's got like the adapters for pistols that don't have rails.
Yeah.
You know, any long gun that doesn't have a rail system, so it really is. It's designed for anything. We have a buddy at
Yeah.
work who he got it mounted to his son's rubber band gun and Nerf gun for his son to
Yeah.
get started. Like
Dude, you can
it
totally
works
do it.
on, yeah, it works on
Well,
everything. It's pretty rad.
so like here's the Security 9, right? And so like it literally is as easy as pop. Like that's it. It's on there. And then you just, you know, power it on and everything. Again, I got to say I didn't know how well it would help me, right? Cuz I'm definitely a skeptical person. I'm a person who goes not just of this, but like of everything. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, like 94% sure I'm going to be in the 6. But
right.
I'm not. I'm definitely in the 94 because I'm going my scores, my accuracies, everything like that. I know there's also like a Facebook group where, you know, Mantis owners will compete and like talk about, oh, well, what's going on here? I'm having a disconnection problem. Well, are you running on this Bluetooth or what? You know, like
Yep.
what phone do you have? Well, we've got issues with that phone because that phone sucks. And so it's not the Mantis, it's the phone because that's a known issue or something, you know. So but it's really cool. That's another thing I think with Mantis that I've seen not only on the Facebook side, but also even just talking with you and talking with my friends' experience with y'all. Um, it definitely is community. You guys are building community around something, and like you said, it's for the everyday person, right? It's not going to make you the top dog, most excellent shooter in the world, because that and training like crazy will do that.
Well,
But this
yeah,
is to get everyone up to speed and to take you into that really confident level, right? I mean, obviously, yeah, you can dial in a lot more of your shot. Even if you are an expert, you can even still dial in. Everybody can get better. But like, I'm just looking at this going, man, this is so great to use because it builds community. You have this, like, how'd you guys do that? How did you go about building such a strong community? Because that's
Yeah.
that's not even on our show notes or anything here, but like, how did you do that?
Yeah, community was a big deal for us, and I'm really glad you brought that up because in the app we have a social. There's a social tab in the app, so there are shooting groups out there who they share their scores, they push each other in competitions, they're there to support each other. But the idea of community was always written in. There was always a point of our software and our company mission. You know, our mission is to train 1 million shooters a year. And it's really hard to do that just one to one, right? Even if you think of like your local gun clubs, your local instructors, it is their own community, right? You know the people in your town or your city or whatever that are taking this guy's classes or at least talking about this guy's range or gun shop or whatever it is. You're constantly building that. Community is a huge part of gun people, right? We have it's a very American aspect, right? But
Yep.
it's always been a big part of it is we share our experiences with each other, and that's always been a big part of it. That combined with the fact that we're a software company, right? Like community's always been a big part of keeping people together, sharing things together, and that was kind of the point. So yeah, that combined with the social thing that we've got going on with the app, and just like you said, you know, we've got Facebook groups out there of people that are always sharing stories with each other, asking questions.
Yeah.
Combined with, you know, our support team, our company is fantastic with our customers. We want to be communicative. You know, we always want to talk about what's going on. We're always updating the app. And if you ever have any kind of problem at all, reaching out to us is going to be massively beneficial because we love our people and we're always happy to help in any way we can. So
Yeah.
Community was a big part of it, just in the initial stages of how we're going to do this thing.
Well, exactly. And like, you know, you mentioned the everything from your support team and all that. I mean, even in setting this up, right? Setting up the podcast episode, I was working with Elise on that, and just shout out to her because she has been a dream to work with in helping out, not only setting up the podcast, but also getting me some more info and some different resources that I needed regarding you guys, because I want to do when I get something, I want to use it to the best. And so, you know, I mean, full disclosure, I'm an affiliate, but I actually bought my X10 myself. Like, that's my own jam. And so, but I was just like, dude, this is insane. And so I'm really hoping we'll talk about something here in just 1 second, because right now I'm primarily focused on pistol work, right? So like I kind of I'm elevating my schedule a little bit, kind of compressing it, but so right now I'm working on a lot of pistol work, but my goal is here probably within March to move up and start working on more rifle work, right? So I want to do some more like CQB stuff with my AR. But the thing is, like, I can actually put this on my AR as well and train with it, whether it's top mount, bottom mount, whatever. And you guys have a lot of really cool stuff. But then you guys have actually come out with a system that's even better than just throwing the X10 on the AR. And this is what, dude, I gotta be honest, I'm like a kid in a candy store for this one. And this is not made for promo, but this is like, this is real authentic excitement right now, because
Me too. I
I
get it.
learned about this next one, the Blackbeard X and the Blackbeard system that you guys built for this. And I want you guys to talk, I want you to talk about a little bit about that, because I was like, okay, how do I make this work on my AR? And she's like, you do know we have the Blackbeard system, right? And I was like, oh yeah.
The what? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, probably my favorite product of ours is this guy right here. This is the Blackbeard, and I'm probably covering up my mic. But so how this works is it's a 1-to-1. So you would drop your bulk carrier group out of your AR, the rear pin, pull it out just like you normally would.
Yeah.
You slide ours in, which is that red plastic bit. You can see that there. The charging handle is molded to it, just slides right in there. And then the magazine is the battery that powers it. Get that set up in there, and you can hear that calibration noise.
Yeah.
It's a constant reset. So I just put this bad boy on fire. I can actually squeeze and constantly reset my trigger over and over and over again. This bad cat is insane. Probably like most of our favorite disclaimers and things like that, as far as enjoying dry fire training,
Yeah.
is with this guy right here. At full charge, it'll do about 50,000 trigger presses. Okay.
It's insane.
The sensor that we were talking about, our X10, that same sensor is built into the magazine. So you can link your AR up to the app just the same way as you can. It's got a laser in it, so you can use it in laser systems like our Laser Academy. And if you beat the crap out of your rifle, it's going to stay in there with it.
Yeah.
This thing is
Like
insanely
knock
cool.
ours over. Yeah.
Hey, I wish it was my desk. I love my AR. Whatever, it's fine.
Right.
But no, it's really really cool. It's a very cool system, very easy to use. In some portions, it gamifies your training, but also on the other hand, it works with everything. Right? Like I got that Rave 140 trigger. It's my optics. It's my furniture. It is my rifle.
Yeah.
With just constant resetability, which is insanely cool.
Well, that was going to be my next statement too, because like I know a lot of people are probably concerned, and I know I haven't shot with it yet, but I'm like, you get to feel the real trigger weight, right? Like it's your full trigger pull, so it's not like you're switching something out there. Like it's the real reset for you, right?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yep. And just like you said, exact same reset, full weight. It is your rifle.
Yeah.
Just constantly resets for dry fire. It's a very, very cool system. I could pull it out and show you, but basically there's a little piston inside of that bulkhead grip that sits right above the hammer. So like every time you pull the trigger, that hammer goes up, and that piston just forces it right back into place.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, because I saw Colion Noir actually doing his little video, his review of the Blackbeard system, and I thought it was really good because he was very, very honest about it. You know, like he mentioned it. He talked about some of the things he likes. There was like, I think, one or two little hesitations. He said it wasn't like a red flag for him or anything. It wasn't like a no. It was just like a, oh, well, that's different than I expected, you know? And so, but to hear him, you know, I highly respect his opinion in the shooting world. Would love to have him on this show someday. That'd be amazing. But also like, just to hear him actually talk about it and go, wow, that's really my trigger. Like this is the full way to practice with all this. And then to see him do it, I'll see if I can find that video and throw it somewhere around, maybe in the show notes, or if not, just go look up Colion Noir and the Blackbeard system, because he does a really cool YouTube video on it. And so that to me was that kind of that selling point of like, okay, this is cool. Oh, now it's verified by some people I actually follow, you know? And so, you know, no offense to you guys, but I know that you, like you said, you eat your own dog food. So you make sure you're definitely going to tout your own stuff. Right. So it's like, hey, if you're saying this and it's marrying up with everybody, yep, I'm in, I'm sold. And I will say, speaking of the data checking out, by the way, I did have to have these ready for you. So after you're on the app for a while, right, you get, not only you got your basic, I got the advanced here. See if I can do that. There you go. I got my elite marksman. Got the elite there. And then so far I have got the basic combat one, and then the advanced combat. I got it. And I got one more.
Oh my god.
You've been putting it in, man. Dude. Yeah, and I love the fact that this is just part of what you guys do. I didn't have to pay for those. Those are super cool. So they got Velcro on the back and everything. I'm like literally on the last test, the last thing for the elite combat, and that is the hostage rescue advanced. I'm wondering if my system is slightly off because I don't have the hard. I know you guys have like the plate, the replacement plate here for that has the rail on it. And I just have it on there with double stick tape right now. So I'm kind of wondering if maybe there's just a tiny bit too much vibration in that.
Maybe. I think something else that might help is,
right here. That's probably
yeah,
the problem.
I mean, I don't want to say, Brian, that you're not ready to be elite yet, okay? Because it sounds like you're really, really close. But
This close.
I'm going to tell you right now, the hostage rescue drills are so hard.
Yeah.
So hard. Like, at least at that level, right? Like, you'll have
Oh,
to do
yeah.
a couple for the other ones, but yeah, getting that very last on the last combat challenge is super difficult.
I think
So
it's 5 out of 7, I think it is, or something like
yeah,
that you have to
yep.
get. So, or 7
Yeah,
out
I
of
think
10.
you got to score like you got to score over a 90 or 95 for the last 7 out of 10, something like that.
Yeah.
I have to look at that.
That's amazing.
It is.
I was literally pulling it up.
It's tough.
Yeah, the last one here. Let me see if I can pull it up here. The Elite Combat. The last one I'm doing. So you got to do complete hostage rescue, advanced drill, and save at least 7 out of the 10 hostages.
Yes.
And then looks like advanced has to be a score of 85 or higher and a time of less than 1.7 seconds. And y'all, that's hard. So
it's tough.
On the positive note,
yeah,
I've seen some folks in the groups doing it, and they're showing their elite badge, so that's good. So I know it's possible. I just got to get better.
It's hard. It is.
Dang it,
Yeah,
Jake,
I know.
I was you would tell me that it was actually the double stick tape or something on there, that I'm actually like a sniper level. You know?
I mean, you probably are. Maybe you should go out and do it live fire. Just put up your sticky note out there at the range and do it that way. You just need to simulate actually rescuing a hostage, and then the adrenaline kicks in, and then it's game over.
Well, and that's a really cool thing too, because you can use it for live fire. So
yeah.
And live fire, this thing is humbling AF, dude. Ooh,
it is. Will. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, no, like I said, I got started earlier on, and I was like, yeah, good shot, and then I was like, ooh, got a little humble there, and then I think I'm good again. I'd get high scores, and I was like, okay, all right, let's take it out to the range. I'm ready, dude. And I get out there, and I was like, dang it, I gotta learn again.
Yeah, I'm hitting 97s on dry fire, and then suddenly you go to the range, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna hit at least like a 90, 92. And you're like 76. What is this? What we got going on?
I swear I'm better than an 80. I swear.
Yeah. Yeah. That's when you turn to the guy next to you. Yeah, you're turning to the guy next to you, going, "No, I'm. There's. I was nervous. There's my wrist or something. I was gonna. Whatever."
Can you look away? I don't like when people stare at me while I shoot. It throws me off.
Yeah. The criminals will look away. That's for sure. So. Speaking of criminals, I gotta say, like, it's nuts seeing some of the stuff going on today, right? Like, has Mantis seen, I gotta ask this one, have you guys seen an increase in sales in the last, like, I don't know, maybe since the last 3 years?
Okay, so, yes. I don't quantify this data for you, right? Because how much of it is just us growing, and then how much of it is just like
driven.
Who's like they used to say Obama was the best gun salesman, right? Like there might be a new champion out there these days. I don't know for sure, but
he's also the largest purchaser of ice cream.
Yeah. If you don't have shares in Blue Bunny, you better get some now, because it's going through the roof is what that's doing. Guns and ice cream are probably sellers these days.
But yeah, I mean, like, so really, have you seen a pretty big boost, I guess? I mean, I don't want to like trash any specific folks, but like definitely you see a lot more gun owners now. You see a lot more folks that have a real concern, I think, today. And so are you seeing stuff like, are you hearing reports of folks like, hey, I really need to take my shooting more seriously, and here's why, directly related to kind of what's going on in the world?
Yeah, so, I think GOA has talked about this before, and so has the FPC. But really, there are more gun buyers in the last 5 years than there ever have been in history, right? That coupled with the rise of dry fire in the industry at all, obviously we have our share of that portion of the industry, but the reality is dry fire in general is being talked about more. And I think just those 2 points together and how well they're converging is showing on our spectrum quite a bit. And it really, it's one of those deals where it's helping us achieve the company mission. But even more importantly, the fact that dry fire is being talked about so much, and the fact that there are more gun owners now than ever before, I think are both not just positives for Mantis in the industry, but for America, right? Like that's the point here. Is it's in our blood. It's the second thing we wrote, right?
Yeah.
So
It might be important.
it is. It's you want to talk about identity and politics and however you want to do that. That's as identical as you can get for the the republic that we live in. So
Yeah.
it's definitely one of those deals where good for us, but good for the country for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I like that, like you're saying. I think a lot of people are, even to go back onto a whole different topic, but I during that big thing where the whole world shut down for like a year or so there,
Right.
I think that was also really good. I was actually, obviously not the pandemic itself wasn't good, but I think it did produce some really good results. Specifically, I've mentioned on here too, but like another episode. But you saw folks that kind of started realizing, oh, it depends on me to take care of myself and my family. Not that our police and law enforcement folks are not capable, but they're not omnipresent, right? So I think, especially in today's world, knowing what's going on and everything, it's like, hey, I need to be prepared. I need to at least have a basic understanding. I think even if a person were to get into like the 70s or 80s on their score, that's better than a 40 or a not shooting at all. And so it's really cool to see that. And so I can only imagine you guys have probably some fun conversations around the water cooler there. So
There's there's a handful, especially when we're doing shows, and we've always got the demo units out at shows for people to come up and try it out, right, and get their
yeah.
hands on it to see how it works. And it's funny watching some people eat a little crow. They walk up with a big chest and they're talking about how I've been shooting my whole life, and then shoot a 50, and they're like, "What?" It's just like, yeah,
That thing
see,
must be
man.
miscalibrated or something.
No, but it is important, right? It's just like you said. It's like even people like us who've been in it for a long time and
Yeah.
doing their own thing and seeing how much improvement is still in front of us. It's not daunting, it's delivered in a way that makes you hungry for more knowledge and to keep trying. And um, if you push that out against all the all the people that come up to the shows and try it out, and there are some funny stories out there, right?
Yeah.
It's
What's
all part of the
something
magic.
crazy that you've seen at a show? Like, tell me about a time that, like, was there anything that stood out to you at shot that's just like, is this real life right now? Like, what do you
So
experience out there?
yeah, I think so. One good one, and this was actually at a law enforcement show last year. Is like one of my favorite ones. Is you kind of live in your own, like, perception is reality. Like you've heard that, right? So your own bubble is the world you live in, and sometimes you get shocked out of that. And so I'm going to this law enforcement show after being here for a year, and I'm like, hi, I'm an okay shooter, but I'm going to a law enforcement show. It's my first one. These guys are all going to be, snapshot wizards, and I'm going to have to be really careful with my wording and how I approach these guys. And it was actually military police and law enforcement was the show, and a lot of the military police, which I'm an army guy. Like I go back with those dudes. All right,
Yeah.
so I had some expectations going in. I'm at my booth doing my thing, and all these guys that had just graduated school came through, and they're looking spiff. You know what I mean? They got like the polos on, they got the hair. They're all carrying their badges and guns. I'm like, here we go. This is the moment I've been waiting for, right? Like these guys are going to just come in here and start knocking out 95s, no problem. And then like 5 of them, and all 4 of them shot like 60s, and I was like, dude, what? I was like, actually shocked, you know? I was like, hey man, like this is this is this is military
Yep.
and law enforcement. I was like, no way. I was shocked. And they were super cool dudes about it, right? Like obviously they like qualified and they're good dudes and it was a good time. But it was one of those times where like the sort of perception of like guardian heroes, they're all crack shots and stuff, and like they weren't. It's like, dude, you guys can check this stuff out, man. Like definitely try it because I think you would like it and get some work out of it. But that was a real shocking one for me. It was one of those days, just like whoa. Um, so not like super funny, but very shocking. It was.
Yeah. Well, and like, you bring up a good point. I think a lot of the times we think those, anyone in law enforcement, we kind of hold them to this almost unrealistic expectation of perfection,
Yes,
right? And so
yes,
it's then you start seeing stuff like the situation that happened down in Houston recently, and you see different situations around the country and the world where you think you have a plan, kind of like Tyson says, everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth, right?
yeah,
But
yep,
like suddenly, if you're put in a live fire situation where your or somebody else's life depends on it, you react totally differently. It's hard to train under those exact circumstances, and so it's very interesting to see. But like, I think it also, not only is it funny to kind of go, yeah, they're just normal, they're just like me, but
yeah,
also it is kind of a humbling thing to go, okay, well, if they can do it, so can I, right? I think I'm going to flip that on its head and say the average person can be just as good as them. And so that's a really cool story actually. So I like that.
it was definitely one of those deals where it and you got to take into consideration too, like almost all police departments and including the military too, they do not get enough time out on the range, and that's not
Yeah.
their fault, right? Like these are men and women out here putting their lives on the line who were they are highly trained, right? They spend a ton of time making this stuff happen. And it is one of those deals where it's like they don't get near enough time out there to go shoot. They don't get enough time to practice. And
Yeah.
doing something like dry fire alone, with or without Mantis, I mean, with Mantis, but without too, it's one of those deals where it's like, okay, this is going to help us push our skills. And because that's becoming more popular, it helps in that. But yeah, just like you said, we are our own heroes, and we always have been. And the men and women that go out there and put their lives on the line to help protect
Mhm.
those rights and those liberties, they deserve all of the credit they get because
Yeah.
it's tough. Just like you said, the adrenaline starts pumping, things start happening, and if you don't have the fine motor skills that you've had drilled into your head over and over because you don't do it every single day, something might happen, and it is one of those deals where it's like, yep, this is on me. So take that responsibility and
Yeah.
grow from it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, and it's funny because I'm actually looking up a video right here because there's actually one where did you see the video from you know who Agilite is, the
Oh yeah,
plate carrier guys, and so and
yeah.
they got a lot of really good gear and everything. So um, they actually did a video, published it right during SHOT Show of from was it from the Middle East, from war to SHOT Show, basically is what it was. And so literally one of their guys was in combat and literally flew back, like he was on schedule and everything, literally left combat, flies home, showers, changes, has like a night, and then gets to SHOT Show. And he's just back to back to back, and he hits the ground running with this smile on his face. And I'm going, like, that's dedication right there. That's commitment. And so, you talking about the men and women of our law enforcement and military and everything, just they are they're top
Yeah.
notch. Obviously there are some crap heads out there that go out and, I don't know, light themselves on fire in front of a gate and everything else. But outside of those guys, those are some whack jobs, right? Those are the outliers, and I feel really bad for that guy. I really do, because he's bought into something that isn't true, isn't real, and obviously has some different disorders. But at that stage, I think anybody who's experienced some traumatic events would would kind of have a similar, maybe not quite as rash of a decision, but to speak about our blanket military and stuff. I mean, dude, we have some incredible folks out there, and so you'll always have the weird bad apples here and there, but as
or
a whole,
acorns, whatever,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
But
no, it is. That's the open scale of humanity, right? That's lived there before us, in the age of pure media and direct connect internet, where we get to see everything almost immediately, right? It's one of those things where it's like, I don't know who said it or what it was from, but they're basically saying like, some famous scientist guy. I'm gonna jack this up because I don't remember who it was, but he's basically saying like, we weren't like designed or have not yet adapted to taking this information all the time, right? Like we're not designed to be tuned in all the time. So, I like to sometimes shut it off and go shoot my guns, and that's literally therapy for me, is trigger time. So, if life's feeling crazy, you can't seem to tune it out, go do some dry presses, or go out to the range and poke some holes in paper and see what that does for your mindset. That seems to help quite a bit.
Yeah. As long as you're improving your shot, because if you're like me, you go out to the range some days and you end up in a worse mindset.
I guess I haven't used my bullets long enough. I'm just like a pro now. Like I don't miss anything. So
that's it. Well, I got some fun stuff coming up here as well. I think we'll have to use the Mantis X on the thing I was talking to you about before the show, but I don't want to give it away too much, because I got a cool comparison video coming up here pretty soon. But
dude,
anyway,
that would actually be a really cool idea to show the breakdown and data and stuff. That'd be sick. I'm gonna keep my eyes peeled for that one.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. So, So tell me a little bit about. I know we're kind of nearing the end of our time here, but is there anything that you can share where Mantis X is like kind of headed to? Because I know like there was just a massive update, right, to the app. And then I think there's some more stuff. There was some hints. I think I don't know if it was social channels or what, but there was some hints at big stuff coming. Is there anything you can tell us that maybe is fair enough to share?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of exciting stuff happening, and happening right now even. So we just dropped Laser Academy 2.0. That was I think just November and December, so it's only been a couple months. That's been really big, and that's the only other product that we've not talked about yet. So that app just came out. And then this year we have them all out at SHOT Show, all of our prototypes and pre-productions. But that we've got currently for AR-15, we've just released one for MCX, so those are out. We've got AR-10, AK-47, Scar Light, and Scar Heavy. All those Blackbeard variants are coming out this year.
Nice.
Yeah, that's got people electric. They're really excited about that. We're all at work really excited about that. And then also at SHOT Show, I don't know if you got to go into the dark room there, but we have a projection system coming out that works off of like the backbone of what Laser Academy is.
All right.
And it's really, really cool. The big thing about our projection system is we're going to be competitive for the consumer market, right? Like if you go look at some of those other ones out there, who I also won't name names here, but they're expensive. They're expensive to get into. We're talking like thousands of dollars to make that happen. What we've got going on runs off of your phone into just about any projector you could get your hands on, cheap or expensive. Projects the program for you, gets recognized by the camera on your phone, just like Laser Academy does. And it runs simulations, gamifies things. You can use our Blackbeards on them, if our laser pistols. So all that stuff is going to be coming out at the same time too. We're really excited about that one. That one's going to be a lot of fun.
For sure. Now that brings up another question for me, but I have to ask that one off the air. So, because I got ideas. Oh, I got ideas. So, man, dude, that's awesome because I think, that's, if I got to say, man, obviously you guys have already done the work and the research and everything, but I'm going, yeah, that's the perfect next step, right? Is that projection side and going, like, how do you take
Oh,
dry fire to the next level? Dude, that's insane.
and that also reminds me too, and I probably should have started with this instead of the projection thing. We've just been doing that for a while and we're ready to drop it. But
Okay.
we're doing some work with a company called Magic Leap, who uses Inveris augmented reality goggles.
Okay.
And we have a little display for that at SHOT Show as well. But basically, they're AR goggles that are running, targets or simulations or things for you placed in the real world. So not
Mm.
just a VR simulation that you can use your Blackbeard for. And as a matter of fact, if anyone wants to go see any of that, I don't know if you guys see any active self-protection, any of those guys like John Correa or Neil Weiderman. They did a video of that. So if you want to go see it, go look at the ASP/Mantis X augmented reality. Go check it out on YouTube. You can see how it works, and that's gonna be really exciting too. That one's a little bit further out than the projection system, but obviously it's up and running and off the ground, and we're making work on it. So that's a really cool system too.
Well, I'm glad you said that. I'll actually throw a link to that down in the description of this episode, so then that way, if
Nice.
folks want to check it out, they can. Because I am really excited to hear about that one and see it. So
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. We're really excited about that one. Just kind of again, it's one of those deals where it's your rifle and and also would be your world with targets in it. So,
dude,
yeah, that one's gonna be pretty sweet. We're excited for that one.
absolutely. No, that's amazing. Well, I mean, like I say, I know Kara was out there with you guys during SHOT and GAOS, and she goes, Ryan, I can't even tell you what's coming. And I'm like, I'm sure that's probably what it was, but it was just like, I can't even tell you what's coming, but you're gonna flip when you see what's happening. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, what do you even mean by this?
I already know what she's talking about, and you are gonna flip. And I can't say much. I can't say anything, but I
Yeah,
can
no.
promise you, when that comes out, it's gonna be like, dude, what? It's gonna be nuts.
Well, now I
You'll
hear
get
that you're coming my way here before too long for some personal stuff, right?
yeah. I'm gonna be done in like 3 weeks, I think.
So you're gonna slip that into your bag, whatever that is, and then I will.
I've just seen a video of it. Yeah, but before they go out to the public, obviously we're gonna have to get our hands on one. And if those dice ever roll the right way, Brian,
Yeah,
show you.
let's go, man. Let's go. So, dude, I'm
Really
pumped.
cool.
I'm excited to see everything that you guys have going on and kind of what's coming out this year. So, again, man. So thanks so much for being on the show. I really appreciate you taking time. I know, like I say, it's been a couple weeks for us kind of coming here, but I'm glad we finally had the chance to sit down and chat.
Me too, man. I really appreciate being here, and obviously I love talking about what we do, and I love Mantis, but being able to sit down with cool people and have good conversations about it and what's going on with the industry. I can't tell you how much I personally appreciate that, and how much Mantis appreciates the opportunity too, dude. So thank you.
Hey, of course, man. Anytime. Like I say, I've got some stuff coming out this year that I'm gonna try to partner up with you guys some more to show not only it's not salesy, but at the same point just to kind of show that it really does help me. And so I'm really excited for that. But and I'm also going to be very, very happy once I finally get my elite combat badge. So that thing pisses me off so bad right now. But
It'll happen, dude. It'll happen. Just
oh
breathe
yeah.
through it, man. Just breathe through it.
Yep. Well, cool. Thanks again for checking out the episode here. I appreciate you guys, everybody who's tuned in. If you want to learn more about Mantis, go check out the description of this show here. I'll actually put links to anything we talked about in the description here. And also, like I say, if you want to get the X10, I would definitely recommend the X10. You can still get the X3.
Yep.
2, 3. I think you can get the
2 or
3
3
right now.
Definitely get the 10 for sure.
Just send a little extra. It's not much, but you get holster draw analysis and everything else. So I'll throw a link to that down there as well. Because like you say, it's crazy, but I have fully drank the Kool-Aid at this point. It's 94% of shooters, myself included, can say in less than like 20 minutes, dude, your shot improves. That's nuts. So also, again, a big shout out to our sponsor, Alien Gear Holsters. Be sure and check out their new Rapid Force Level 3 duty holsters in the show notes also. And I guess we will see you on the next episode here on the Brewhaus. Thanks again, Jake.
Thanks, guys.